A new poll has Reform plummeting to third place. According to Lord Ashcroft polling, Labour are top with 27%, the Tories climb to second place with 23%, and Reform all the way down to 18%. Despite Labour on top, the Greens are holding firm with 15%. Now, of course, one poll is just an outlier. However, it's the trends that matter, with the number of polls having Reform in second place, despite dominating this year. Opinion research has this: Labour with 27% and Reform not far behind with 25%. Ipsos Mori, they've got this: Labour with 28%, Reform second with 25%, and not much change with the other parties. Now, according to Election Maps UK, in a poll of polls they conducted, Reform are in second place. Labour are ahead with 25.6%, Reform second with 24.3%, the Tories 19.6%, Greens 11.3%, Lib Dems 10.7%, and Restore with 2.9%. And what's interesting is that Labour support in this poll is an 18-month high, Reform with a 19-month low. For the Greens, 11.3 is a 10-month low, and the Lib Dems with a post-general election low. Now, Andy Burnham is still enjoying the Burnham bounce, as he is way ahead in personal party leader ratings. 50% of the public view Burnham favourably, with 31% disliking him, a net 19% positive. That rarely happens. Kemi Badenoch, 14% net negative, -8 for Ed Davey, 24% view Farage favourably, and 65% dislike him, meaning he is -41% with the public. Zach has a -31% rating. Although, interestingly, at the second part of the graphic, the Greens are the most popular party. 33% of the public like them, against 42% dislike. 30% of the public favours Labour, 27% for the Lib Dems, 26% for Reform, and the Tories, the least popular, with 24%. However, Reform are disliked the most by a wide margin. 62% of the public do not approve. The party is seen overall as the most negative, with its leader Farage the most unpopular leader, but up until now, they were consistently polling number one. Politics is strange. Kevin, how significant do you think this polling is? I mean, have Reform thrown away their chances of winning the next election?
I would take this individual poll, especially because it's Ashcroft polling, which is imperfect, shall we say. There's a certain conservative bias. I think they overestimate the conservative vote very regularly. But the point is, it's one poll. So let's not take that particular snapshot in its entirety, right? You look at the poll of polls, which does show that the Reform vote has dropped down significantly over the last sort of 18 months, and Labour have received a big bounce. I think the big story that people should take out of this is not so much that Reform are in second place, which they are definitely now. They're not actually in third. They're in second place overall by a relatively narrow margin to Burnham, is that what the left has been saying for ages, which was ignored under the previous Labour leader and previous Prime Minister, was that the Greens had taken their votes off them. And the fact that a more progressive, at least sort of more progressive, sounding more progressive, Labour leader has come into power has seen a significant bounce in the Labour vote and a precipitant drop-off from the Green Party, because that's where the votes were going to. Stop trying to placate far-rightists who will never, ever, ever vote for you. That is the big message that should be taken out of this from the Labour Party. Whether they will or not, we'll wait and see. But the point is, the Reform Party are definitely dropping in the polls. I think taking on a significant number of former Conservative members of the government was a mistake. A lot of people who saw them as an insurgent, anti-establishment party can't realistically turn around and still think of them that way, because they have Robert Jenrick, the immigration minister, who opened the hated migrant hotels, and people like I've forgotten her bloody name, Patel. That undermines the concept of them being an anti-establishment party. And after just 30 years of giving them the oxygen of publicity and positive press coverage, finally the press and the establishment have done their job and are actually tackling Farage in the proper way. Firstly, they are denying him the oxygen of publicity that he requires. He did this whole by-election stunt because he wanted the publicity, and the establishment went, "No, we're not playing your game. We're not going to run." Even the Restore Party didn't want to run against him, and so essentially he has been in the wilderness, completely the people have not seen him or heard from him really in a long time, and he's been arguing with a bin in Essex. That's not where he needs to be. He needs, like Trump, to have the oxygen of publicity. He needs to be the story. And you can tell he's not the story because most people probably aren't aware that both he and Zia Yusuf held a press conference today about how they're going to keep prisoners in jail, and they've got this El Salvador plan where they're going to send criminals to El Salvador or something, and no one watched it and no one cared. It made absolutely no impact. They've become irrelevant in that respect. So finally, they've starved him of the oxygen of publicity. But what publicity they have given him has actually attacked in ways that can be effective. Because you can't just call him a racist. He is a racist. It's obvious he's a racist. His people don't care. In fact, actually, they do care. It's a plus for them because they are largely also racists, or at least okay with racists and racism. What you actually have to attack him on is the fact that he's taking millions of pounds of dodgy money from oligarchs. Because again, you can't plausibly sell yourself as anti-establishment when you are literally as corrupt as the establishment and you've got the establishment in your party. So ultimately, that's what you're going to see now is the precipitant decline, I think, of the Reform Party. I don't think it's necessarily the case that they've completely sold their opportunity to become the next government, but I think it's unlikely now, or basically impossible, that they'll get a majority and would have to form some sort of coalition government. And also, I think Farage is hole below the waterline, and he probably has to go to allow that to happen.
I mean, I'm just looking at, I just searched up when the last time Reform got 30% in the poll. And it was More in Common was on the 30th of March. They were on 30%, the Conservatives were on 21%, Labour on 19%. Opinion, because that's one of the polls we've cited, the last time Reform were on 30% was February. And then Ipsos, again, another poll that we've cited in this, was January. So it's been around 6 months, 4 to 6 months, maybe longer now, since they've actually reached 30%. Where do you, and that's this predates all the £5 million bung stuff, right?
Yeah.
It has to be more than just the Conservative or ex-Conservative MP swinging over, though. There must have been, I mean, in your view, there must have been other reasons, right? Or,
I mean, yeah, Nigel Farage has tried in some ways to soften his messaging. You wouldn't necessarily know it from the outside, but right-wingers do look for this sort of thing. He has softened his message to a certain extent. He's also, bizarrely, rolled back some of the more progressive sounding things. So former Labour voters who wanted tougher rules on immigration, but also kind of wanted government spending, well, he's rolled back on all of those government spending plans. Even the lies he was telling to his voters about how he was going to invest in their local communities have gone away. And so the ex-Labour voter who would hold their nose and vote for reform goes away. Also, you've seen a significant bounce for the Labour Party, which again, even though the Reform Party have slipped down a little bit, the reason that Labour are ahead of them is because of that increase, right? Which again comes from again, there's an almost exact mirroring of the drop in Green Party vote and the rise in the Labour Party vote, because progressives have decided, okay, maybe this guy's worth a shot. He's sounding more progressive. He's coming up with some economically more progressive sounding things. Maybe we'll give him a shot. And literally anyone's better than the previous bloke, whatever his name was. Can anyone remember?
Okay, so obviously you're saying here there's a mirror image of the Greens dropping, Labour going up, right? Obviously, we all did say if Labour moved to the left or try and court left-wing voters, I mean, at least they should try to do that. And obviously, it's for now been successful. Yeah. I question the long-term project of this, especially on Gaza, right? Because the biggest reason why people left Labour to the Greens was Gaza. So I think that's going to be a problem for them. Yeah. But under Keir Starmer, and I know they were outliers, but some polls had the Greens on 18%, 21%. Again, they were more closely, I think, to 15, 16%, maybe 15%. Do you think now with Burnham that the Green Party's strategy has changed? And actually, it's now their role is to push Labour to the left instead of outright replacing them, as the plan was when Keir Starmer was PM, because that was what they were saying, right? We're here to replace Labour, and polling was showing that that could happen.
Yeah.
Now Burnham's Prime Minister, polling shows that can't happen. Do you think the Greens have to maybe temper their expectations a little bit, or do you think they should be just as, I don't know, bold and confident as before?
I think they need to be more bold. I know that might sound a slightly strange thing, given that they, like you say, they're at a 10-month low in terms of their share vote, but the popular vote share. But you need to be more bold, because essentially, I don't see it as an either-or situation. You do have to try and pull them to the left as far as you can, because regardless of if anything ever happens, whether he ever becomes an MP, whether the Green Party ever become a major parliamentary force, Zach Polanski has had a positive net impact on British politics. The reason that Andy Burnham is Prime Minister is because of Zach Polanski. The reason that the Labour Party are coming out and sounding vaguely like a Labour Party should, in terms of like cost of living crisis, and even on things like Gaza, where although the policy hasn't really changed, at least the messaging has changed. At least he's prepared to be a little critical, which is a sea change from the absolute steadfast iron support of the previous government. That positive impact is huge, potentially. It could vastly change the fortunes of working class people in this country. But you have to be there to drag them as far to the left as you can get them to go towards your position, because that's better than nothing. It's better than the previous situation we had. And ultimately, if they don't go far enough and we end up in the same situation where progressives become disillusioned by this Labour government, which seems likely given that I think they're not going as far as they should, and he's just a Blairite who eventually will be sucked in by the blob at Westminster and become another essentially Tory, then that disillusioned vote will come back to the Green Party, and they can actually overtake the Labour Party, because, you know, once bitten, twice shy type deal. I think you have to essentially have it as a strategy in the first place to drag them to the left, and if they don't do so, to take over from them.
Yeah, I entirely agree with that, and I do think that Burnham wouldn't be where he was without Zach Polanski. I think that's just true.
100%. Without a leftist, without a left to the left of the Labour Party threat to the Labour Party's vote, Keir Starmer would still be Prime Minister.
People didn't really have anywhere to go, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the one argument they had was, well, where else do you have to go? It's either us or Farage. Well, now it's not. Now there is a credible alternative. The Labour Party, for the first time in 50 years, have a genuine, credible threat to their left on a national level. They have had in terms of Wales and Scotland with the SNP and Plaid Cymru, but in terms of the national picture across the whole of the country, they have the Green Party there to genuinely hold their feet to the fire. So for the first time in 50 years, they're having to actually talk to left-wing voters for the first time in generations. And we're seeing the net positive impact of that, and of course, a change of leadership on that basis.
There's been reports that the Greens are looking like they're going to overtake the Labour Party in terms of membership. But I actually would be interested to see what the Green Party's membership numbers are now, whether it's fallen. Because some people maybe gone back to the Labour Party because they feel, maybe I can try and change things under Burnham. But
I don't necessarily think that would have happened in huge numbers, and I'd be very surprised actually if the Green Party hadn't got close to, if not actually overtaking the Labour Party, because of course the Labour Party don't publish their numbers anymore. So disastrous was the drop off in membership.
Again, that's reports are saying they're approaching it. They probably already have. I mean, it's plausible to say that Labour could be under 200,000.
Yeah, genuinely, because they're so embarrassed by their pathetic showing that they don't publish their numbers anymore, which should be illegal as far as I'm concerned. You should know the number. You don't have to know the exact people, of course. Privacy is a matter, but in terms of the overall number, those as a matter of law should be made public, I think.